To understand the water resources of Alachua County, we need to see the relationship between surface water and groundwater. Let's make the connection. We'll start deep underground in the aquifer. An aquifer is a natural underground formation of sand, gravel, or rock where our drinking water is stored and transported. Here in Alachua County, the aquifer is made of limestone. This limestone aquifer, which is called the Floridan Aquifer, is underneath all of the county and extends far beyond. Meet Tom Morris, who lives in Gainesville with his family. He's a biologist and a cave diving explorer who has actually been inside of the Floridan Aquifer. You might say he's been swimming in our drinking water. Tom is going to guide us through the landscape of Alachua County. He'll show us just how the water gets down into the Floridan Aquifer.
I'm standing here in eastern Alachua County in what we call the northern Highlands Plateau. The highest elevations in the county are found here. In fact, I'm standing at about 180 feet above sea level. The limestone is well over 100 feet below the land surface. And above that aquifer are many feet of sand and clay. The clay keeps water up on the surface. The water can't trickle down to the limestone very quickly through that clay. And that's why we get up here in this elevated tableland lots of wetlands and swamps, just like that cypress pond on the other side of this pasture.
The water, which comes from local rainfall, puddles up in swamps and wetlands. When these swamps and wetlands get full of water, they overflow, forming creeks and streams.
There we go. Who wants to hold him?
I do.
So you guys find lots of turtles and stuff out here, don't you?
Yeah.
You know, you guys are lucky because you live along one of the creeks here in town that's relatively unpolluted. The fact that we find so many turtles and other wildlife out here indicates that this creek's in good condition, it's not polluted. And it's one of the reasons that not only do I let the kids come out here and play in this creek, but I encourage it. I don't let my kids play in this one. This one's polluted.
Some of the creeks in the county contain chemical pollutants and germs from human and animal waste, especially after a big rainfall.
The creek is contaminated, and it's not good for the wildlife or the health of my kids. People have had quite an impact on this creek. The whole creek bed and valley is strewn with trash that people have thrown out their windows over on the highways. They wash down in here. We all need to do our part to take care of the land and water resources around our homes.
This is so gross. Can you believe it? Especially with the lake. They expect their fish to stay clean.
We're about 30 feet below the rim of the Devil's Mill Hopper, a giant sinkhole in Alachua County. In fact, it's one of the biggest sinkholes in the state. It's about 120 feet deep. The reason I brought you here to Devil's Mill Hopper is that this is a miniature example of the movement of water in Alachua County as a whole. The water that's coming down the sides has been coming from a number of small creeks that converge on this sinkhole. These creeks flow through neighborhoods and through urbanized areas. And that's one of the reasons that we got to be careful what we do around our homes and our businesses, because this water is heading basically into our drinking water reservoir. This little creek tumbling down the walls of Devil's Mill Hopper is like most of the creeks in Alachua County. They head up in swamps, cypress ponds, in the northern highlands, where they're supported and kept on the ground surface by the many feet of clay that underlie them. Here's a little bit of it that I took out of the sides of the mill hopper here. The stuff is real sticky, and much of it's very hard, and water just doesn't get through it. Now, all these creeks in Alachua County, including this little one right here, when they find a break in the clay, a place that they can get down to the limestone, they take advantage of it. Let me go wash this old sticky clay off my fingers, and I'll walk you over here and show you one of the spots where this creek goes underground. Here's a great little example down here in the bottom of Devil's Mill Hopper where these creeks go underground. These things are scattered all over Alachua County, and they're known as swallow holes because they swallow creeks whole and take them underground. I hope this water flowing into the limestone here hasn't picked up too many contaminants on its journey across the surface of the northern highlands, because somebody's going to be drinking this water one of these days. Because this water's heading right into the Florida Aquifer, where we get all of our drinking water from here in Alachua County. The water right behind me here in Paynes Prairie has flown out of eastern Gainesville. It's on its way to Alachua Sink over here, where it's going to go down into the aquifer, into our drinking water. The whole eastern part of Gainesville is drained by Sweetwater Branch. Sweetwater Branch picks up all kinds of pollutants that are coming off the roads, the lawns, the highways. It also picks up water from one of our sewage treatment plants. Paynes Prairie is real important to Alachua County because it's one of our last very large wild areas, and it's home to hundreds of kind of plants and animals. Many of these animals are considered dangerous, like that alligator back there, and people aren't going to tolerate having them in their little small ponds and lakes. They've got a future out here on Paynes Prairie. They've got a home.
As we move from eastern Alachua County toward the west, the elevation drops and the limestone aquifer gets closer to the surface of the land. The limestone is covered by just a thin layer of sand. When it rains in the western part of Alachua County, the rain soaks right into the earth, carrying with it any contaminants or pollutants.
You can walk all day across this part of western Alachua County, and you'll never come across a stream or a pond. But there's plenty of water out here, but we can't see it. It's all right down underneath my feet. I'll show you why. This is a pocket gopher mound. Pocket gophers are little mammals that burrow around under the soil, and they kick this soil up out of their tunnels. You can see what this stuff is made of. It's pure sand. And this is why we don't have any surface water out here in the western part of Alachua County. The water runs through the sand like a sieve on its way down to the limestone below. We're here in the middle of the sinkhole plain in western Alachua County. This is a great place to come look at the aquifer, because the limestone out here in this part of the county is covered by just a thin layer of sand. Let's rappel into this sinkhole and take a closer look at the rock and the water below. limestone continues down for several thousand feet below the ground surface. And that's where 90% of the water that's stored in Alachua County is located. Here I go. Folks, this is the Florida Aquifer. And any pollutants that are dumped on the surface can work their way quickly through this cavernous rock and down to the water, our drinking water. For years, people have dumped all sorts of trash and stuff into these sinkholes. What they don't realize is they're dumping it right into their drinking water. And they may think it's out of sight and out of mind, but it's going to come back to them right up their water wells and out their faucets. Every one of us needs to be very careful in our daily activities that we do not contribute to the degradation of this wonderful source of drinking water.